Hey, I wanted to do a video on how I take apart my AR. I did a Cerakote job on it. I'm not real happy with it. The Don't Tread on Me, all this was a little bit of an afterthought. I should have done this first, but instead I did this after I had already coated it, the Flat Dark Earth, because it just was a little bit plain. But I have a much better idea of what I want to do now. And I also know that I need to put the Don't Tread upside down. So I start by taking off anything that's not necessary. I have two optics and I also have a flashlight on the front. So I'm going to start by removing these. And when I'm taking it apart just to degrease it, sandblast it, and re-cerakote it, I'm not necessarily concerned about scratching. So I am going to do my best to keep this all on camera and show you how I disassemble.
Here's the problem with America, the country is broken. Cause they minds stay closed, but they mouths stay open. Get attacked and we blame terrorists, go broken, we blame the price. Blame racists for the racism, but only if his skin is white. If we don't need guns, cause we can call the police. We don't need fire extinguishers, call a fireman please. You didn't wanna build a wall and now the border is weak. Your favorite actor has a gate that's like 15 feet. Racism is gay if you're...
Alright, I've got everything that I don't need on here off. So what I'm going to do is I've already ensured that the weapon's clear. I've visually and physically inspected. Next, I'm going to turn my Sig Sauer Tread over. I'm going to release the rear pin and the front pin in order to separate the upper from the lower.
Offended, that's retarded. And tolerance is great until you speak and you're a target. If a white man paints his face black, he's a racist.
Next, I will remove my ambidextrous magazine release. You can release from the right side of the weapon or the left side of the weapon on this SIG. I do so with a pin, push from the right hand side, and this unscrews lefty-loosey, righty-tighty.
He's the garbage, but you put him in a dress and he's courageous and he's gorgeous. All these double standards, man, I'm tired of the noise. Freedom's an illusion if they censor your voice. Call a dad a deadbeat for neglecting his boys, but a mom kills a baby and you call it pro-choice.
Next, I remove my pistol grip.
You act like you're so much better than us. Yeah, we know that. Who told you that you so special? To a new world order. Your facts ain't...
And when I'm removing my pistol grip, I'm careful because there's a spring in here that holds a safety detent into place, and I don't want to lose the spring or the detent. So I very carefully start to come off with my pistol grip. I can see the spring here, and there's going to be a detent inside that little hole right there. You can see the back of it. I'll let that come out, and this is the bullet-shaped detent. Next, I remove my safety selector.
Facts without censoring us. Yeah, we know that. Good job, you lose. Here's your medal. To a new world order. Why they hate the...
Just a quick side note. I like to keep anything that I can together. Since I won't be cerakoting these parts again, I go ahead and I put this back together. I keep my magazine release together with the spring so I know exactly where it goes. It's just a way of ensuring I don't accidentally make a mistake. I keep, since I'm not doing my pistol grip, I keep my spring in it and I keep my screw just sitting right here in the top. If I were going to redo the pistol grip, I would take this and I would take the screw and I would put it in its own individual little Ziploc bag, and I would put a tiny little piece of paper in there that says pistol grip pieces. Next, I like to remove my trigger and my hammer. If my hammer is forward, I like to gently release it to its upward position to where it's no longer cocked and it's under the least amount of spring tension possible. And my rods, my retaining pins here, are a little different because I have an aftermarket trigger assembly. And so I like to remove mine from the left down through to the right with just a punch.
They try to burn it to the ground. Don't do that in front of me, I'ma let off a round. Pow, scream loud, burn the city down now. Put it on the news, make them all feel proud. Look, make a system where 85% of black people fill the prison. Is it?
Like I said, I save a lot of old Ziploc bags from parts and pieces that I've acquired over the ages. And I keep all my trigger assembly pieces in one space. Next, I will remove my forward pin, and in order to do so, I put it into the open position. And I'll see if I can get this to focus. There is a small hole right here, and I'm going to take a 1/16 punch and I'm going to put it through this hole here. And what I'm doing is there's a detent and a spring that's holding this into place, and by pushing down on said detent and then simply rotating, I can remove the detent from the groove in the pin. And be very careful. I make sure that this small, tiny little detent is under spring tension right now. I have to be very careful not to lose that. So I put my whole hand in front of it as I pull up, and I let that detent hit my hand so that I don't lose it. And remove the spring. Next, in order to remove the rear pin, I must remove the buttstock and the buffer tube. There is another detent, just like the one up here, that sits and holds this pin into place under spring tension, and that spring is held together by this piece right here. And yes, for all of you paying attention, when I reassembled this, I did put my castle nut on backwards. So, since my castle nut was on backwards, off camera, I went ahead and loosened my castle nut. And in order to remove the buffer tube and the buttstock, again, I'm going to loosen my castle nut. And then I'm going to be careful of this spring that holds the detent here. And I'm also going to depress my buffer tube retaining pin in order to unscrew the stock from the lower.
They black or they make bad decisions. I ain't good at math, but it seems like it's division. Or is it white privilege? I believe.
Don't do that.
Politicians need to be locked up. Try to take our freedoms, that's how you get shot up. Got our back against the wall, try to just stop us. More guns, more ammunition, please stock up. Election gets rigged, rights get infringed. Take this. Frighten your kids, show up right where you live. Make me wanna grab a rifle and just go.
You act like you're so much better than us. Yeah, we know that. Who told you that you so special? You're a new world.
So as you can see here, this can be lifted up with your pin. Or maybe just shaking out. Next, I'm going to take out my trigger guard, and that will completely disassemble this lower.
Your facts ain't facts without censoring us. Yeah, we know that. Good job, you lose, here's your medal. To a new world order.
And everyone blames white folks for every little bitty thing. We don't have no one to blame, we take responsibility. They tell you be a man, then call it toxic masculinity. Then when you act too feminine, they call it white fragility.
I don't understand trans man with humility. I'm just trying to raise my kid the best of my ability. If I disagree, you try to cancel, get rid of me. You cancer, you can't be the answer, you killing me.
And I hate white supremacy just as much as you, but I ain't feeling guilty for something I didn't do. The system's killing everyone, it sucks but it's true. They kill you, then they broadcast it and call it the news.
Or they'll brainwash you through social media feeds. And if you disagree, delete you immediately. Make America China pretty easy to see. I will always remember the land of the free.
You act like you're so much better than